I want you to imagine something for a moment, because this story begins on a quiet, dusty morning that nobody expected would change several lives forever. Out on the edge of a sprawling Texas ranch owned by a mysterious billionaire, something unusual was about to happen. Most people believed the owner of the ranch, Arthur Callahan, was colder than the desert wind. He was a man known for steal business deals, endless wealth, and a reputation that scared competitors across the country. But that morning he noticed something that stopped him in the middle of his routine walk. Near the servant quarters stood a young girl staring toward the sunrise like she owned the horizon. She wasn't supposed to be there, and yet she looked completely fearless standing alone. The girl was the daughter of the ranch maid, a quiet woman who worked endlessly cleaning the mansion halls. Arthur paused longer than usual, curious about the strange confidence glowing in the child's eyes. And what happened next would leave even a hardened billionaire completely speechless for the first time. Now listen closely, because this is where the story becomes truly unexpected and unforgettable. The little girl's name was Sophia, and she had grown up quietly watching the world. Every morning she waited outside while her mother finished long hours of exhausting work inside the mansion. She watched wealthy guests arrive in shining cars that cost more than entire neighborhoods nearby. But unlike other children who might feel jealous, Sophia simply observed everything with thoughtful curiosity. Arthur Callahan noticed this unusual calmness many times during his silent morning walks across the ranch. Most adults avoided speaking directly to the powerful billionaire, fearing his intimidating personality. Yet this small girl never seemed afraid when she saw him walking past. Instead, she simply nodded politely as if greeting an ordinary neighbor instead of a legend. That quiet confidence slowly sparked something inside Arthur that he could not easily explain. One morning Arthur decided to break his own rules and approach the child directly. He walked slowly toward her, boots crunching softly across the gravel path beside the barns. Sophia looked up calmly, meeting his gaze without nervousness or hesitation. Arthur crossed his arms and asked why she stood there every single morning watching the sunrise. The girl replied that mornings were when dreams felt closest and worry seemed smaller. That simple answer caught Arthur completely off guard because he expected childish nonsense instead. He studied her carefully, realizing this child spoke with a wisdom far beyond her age. After a long pause, he made an unusual decision he had never offered anyone before. Arthur told Sophia he was feeling generous and would grant her 3 wishes. But he warned her that wishes reveal who people truly are deep inside. The girl didn't jump with excitement like most children would in that unbelievable moment. Instead, she thought quietly, staring across the golden fields glowing beneath the rising sun. Arthur watched impatiently, expecting a request for toys, money, or some childish fantasy. After several thoughtful seconds, she finally turned toward him and spoke her first wish slowly. She said she wanted her mother to never work another exhausting day cleaning someone else's house. The billionaire blinked in surprise because that request held no selfish desire whatsoever. Most people given such power would instantly demand riches, luxury cars, or fame. But this child thought first about the woman who sacrificed everything to raise her alone. Arthur felt something shift uncomfortably in his chest that he rarely experienced. It was a strange mixture of respect, guilt, and admiration all colliding together. Arthur cleared his throat and nodded slowly, promising that the first wish was granted immediately. He informed her that her mother would become the ranch's head supervisor instead. The position would pay generously and require far less exhausting labor than before. Sophia smiled softly but did not celebrate wildly like most children might have done. Arthur found himself increasingly curious about what the second wish might reveal. So he leaned against the ranch fence and told her she still had 2 wishes left. The morning breeze carried the scent of wild grass across the wide open land. Sophia looked toward the distant workers preparing horses for another long ranch day. Then she took a slow breath before revealing something even more surprising. Her second wish was something Arthur Callahan never expected to hear from anyone. She said she wished every worker on the ranch could have one paid day weekly. Not just rest, but time with their families without worrying about lost income. Arthur straightened immediately because that request could cost him serious money. He had built his empire by calculating every expense with ruthless precision. Yet standing before him was a child asking nothing for herself again. She was thinking about tired workers who returned home too exhausted for their children. Arthur stared silently at the ground for several long moments, considering the consequences. But strangely, he felt ashamed imagining himself refusing such a compassionate request. Finally he nodded again, announcing the ranch would introduce family rest days immediately. Sophia smiled wider this time, clearly happy for people who might never know her kindness. Now Arthur Callahan was completely fascinated by the girl's extraordinary character and unusual priorities. He realized the final wish might reveal something even deeper about her heart. So he crouched slightly so their eyes met at the same level. He asked carefully what her third and final wish would be today. Sophia remained quiet longer than before, thinking carefully beneath the bright morning sky. Birds flew overhead while ranch workers began their daily routines in the distance. Arthur felt oddly nervous waiting for the answer, something he rarely experienced in business. Finally the girl looked directly into his eyes and spoke with calm sincerity. Her third wish, she said, was something that could not be bought with money. And the moment she explained it, the billionaire felt completely speechless. Sophia said she wished Arthur would visit the workers' families once every month. Not as a boss inspecting employees, but as a neighbor learning their stories. She believed people worked harder when they felt seen and respected by leaders. The request stunned Arthur because nobody had ever challenged his distant leadership style. Most employees only saw him during brief inspections or serious business meetings. The idea of sitting with workers' families felt completely foreign to him. Yet hearing it from such an innocent voice made the suggestion powerful. Arthur realized the girl wasn't asking for anything material again. She was asking him to become a better human being for everyone around him. For the first time in decades, Arthur Callahan had absolutely no words. The powerful billionaire stood there silently while the sunrise painted golden light across the ranch. Sophia waited patiently without pressure, simply watching his reaction carefully. Arthur felt emotions rising that he had buried beneath years of ruthless ambition. He remembered his own childhood when his father worked endlessly and rarely came home. Success had given him wealth but quietly stolen meaningful connections with real people. Now a little girl had exposed that truth with one humble request. After several long breaths he finally spoke with a voice softer than usual. Arthur promised he would grant the final wish exactly as she asked. And from that moment, something remarkable slowly began changing across the entire ranch. The transformation would affect workers, families, and even Arthur Callahan himself. Over the following months Arthur started visiting workers' homes on quiet Sunday afternoons. At first families felt nervous welcoming the powerful billionaire into their modest houses. But Arthur listened to stories, shared meals, and learned names he never knew before. Children showed him school projects while parents spoke honestly about their daily struggles. The billionaire began realizing how many lives depended on decisions made inside his office. Those visits slowly softened his reputation and changed the ranch's entire atmosphere. Workers became more loyal because they felt respected rather than simply employed. Arthur even started laughing more often during those relaxed family gatherings. And every time he saw Sophia playing near the barns, he remembered the wishes. 3 simple wishes that quietly reshaped the culture of an entire community. Meanwhile, Sophia's mother could hardly believe how drastically their lives had improved. Her new position allowed her evenings free to spend meaningful time with her daughter. She watched proudly as Sophia continued helping neighbors and encouraging kindness everywhere. Arthur occasionally wondered how such wisdom lived inside someone so young. He realized that compassion often grows strongest in people who understand hardship deeply. The billionaire also discovered something unexpected happening inside his own heart. For the first time in years he felt proud not only of profits. He felt proud of the lives improving across the ranch community. And all of it started because a maid's daughter chose kindness over personal gain. That realization humbled the powerful man more than any business defeat ever could. One evening Arthur sat on the ranch porch watching another quiet sunset slowly appear. Sophia walked past with her mother, laughing happily without noticing Arthur nearby. He smiled quietly, realizing she had never once asked about wealth or rewards. Her wishes were never meant to change her own life dramatically. Instead, she changed the lives of everyone around her without demanding recognition. Arthur understood then that true power does not come from money alone. Real power comes from using influence to lift others whenever possible. That lesson from a small girl became the most valuable gift he ever received. And the billionaire often wondered how different the world could become. Imagine if more people used their wishes with the same selfless courage. So now I want to ask you something, because this story carries a powerful question. If someone offered you 3 wishes today, what would you truly ask for first? Would you choose wealth, fame, comfort, or something that helps others around you? Sometimes the smallest voices reveal the biggest truths about what really matters. Sophia proved that kindness can influence even the most powerful people in the world. And sometimes one brave request can quietly transform an entire community forever. If this story made you think even a little differently about generosity and leadership, tell me below. Share your own 3 wishes in the comments because I genuinely want to read them. And if you enjoyed this Wild West story filled with heart and unexpected lessons, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who needs inspiration today.